Great morning, world. It's your boy Dragon coming to you again with another Rise Up with Dragon, another 10-minute Rise Up with Dragon. As a reminder, it is the goal of this podcast to remove the blindfolds of your mind so that you can gain access to higher levels of consciousness and tap into your true great potential. How do we do this? We do this with our podcast, our weekly blog called The Dragon's Lair, One from the Vault, and our upcoming online courses and books. I would like to personally welcome you to another Rise Up with Dragon.
Great morning, world! Welcome to the Rise Up with Dragon podcast with your host, Dragon!
Here I go. Here I go again. Great morning, everybody. As a quick reminder, our podcast, this episode, as always, is sponsored by Karma Mind.
Get into the float state with Calm Mind meditations and Gia.
Awesome. Let's jump into it. So we're in this new format, this new structure that we call 10-minute rise ups. And the reason why we're doing that, this is my latest commitment, is we're really, really focusing on the urgency of time. We're compacting, we're compressing time, and we're trying to get more done in less time. Why? Because we don't know how much time we have. Right now, we hypothetically have a 24-hour opportunity and potential for the rest of this day, but we're not really sure. So let's just jump right into this. And this is a perfect topic because this is very much correlated with the urgency of time, and that is the topic of significance. Timestamp, we are approaching the end of March 2022, and I am on day 5 of the Hard 75. So we have hashtag Hard 75. Unbelievable, man. I mean, I'm following my program that I coach, but just really committed to gallon of water, 2 workouts a day, all that stuff. So Dragon is 50 years old, and I am going to get in the best physical, mental, and financial shape. And I welcome anybody that wants to join me to come back, hence significance. So let's look at significance. So I call significance the holy grail of all human goals. So I was reading some stuff the other day. A lot of my time and study and writings is in the realm of consciousness. I find it the most fascinating and confusing thing that we can study, specifically in the area of what is called the hard problem of consciousness. So what that means is there's a now outdated philosophical, what we call materialistic view of consciousness, what it is and where it sits. That used to state, or it does still state, that consciousness, this concept of consciousness, was formed in the brain and it lives somewhere in the brain, in the tissue, right? And I think the reason why we looked at that is because, like, if you lose your head, you lose your consciousness. But the only thing is that we've never actually found it in the brain. So that concept, that materialistic view, lost its stock and value once we started, because we're starting to awaken. I don't know if you notice this, but human beings are starting to wake up, right? We're starting to look at things. We're starting to become open and consider things that we never would have thought about and considered before. So it started to lose stock when we started recognizing, and the science backs it up, that our realities and our perceptions were like what it is that we think are actually directly altered and affected by our different views and experiences. So what that means is all of us are unique in what we perceive because of what we have experienced and our views and where we stand on any given day. So we all have different versions and opinions of reality as a result of that. So this concept of the hard concept, or the hard problem of consciousness, was actually coined by a modern day philosopher named David Chalmers. If you guys are into TED Talks, look up David Chalmers. I'll put the link in the notes. And as a reminder, everybody, go check out this podcast, Rise Up with Dragon, on all platforms. And please, on iTunes, leave us a rating and review. It really, really does help. We're in the top 1% of podcasts worldwide right now, but we're reaching a lot of people and helping a lot of people. So David Chalmers coined the concept of the hard problem of consciousness, and it's a great TED Talk, so go check it out. It refers to the fact that we do not exactly know what consciousness is and where it comes from, hence the concept of the hard problem. I'll tie this to significance. He posed a new form of explanation of consciousness that used the age-old quote from Descartes that said, "I think, therefore I am." And what that means is, in the realm of consciousness, is if I have consciousness, that means I exist. Think about that for a second. If you go unconscious, do you know that you exist? So I think, therefore I am. If I have consciousness, therefore I exist. However, what it is and where is it? It's still a hard problem. Even though we postulate these new concepts, it's still a hard problem because we don't know what it is and where it is. Now, I have my own philosophy and I buy into this just because it's the only thing that makes sense to me. And I speak about this in length in my book. But my philosophy is that consciousness exists in the ether. Consciousness exists in the space between us, and all life forms. All life forms, us included, and we all have different degrees and capabilities of accessing that space. Think about that for a second, because you can look at the difference between like a dog, a human, and a rock. They all have access, meaning they all have the ability to access, but they all have different capabilities depending on their ability and how much work they've done becoming awake and aware, which is what I like to do. The idea of removing your blindfolds, getting rid of blind spots, becoming undistractable or indistractable. Sorry, Nir. Great book, Nir Eyal, Indistractable. That's all about getting your consciousness up. But what I mean is increasing your ability, tapping into higher levels of consciousness, how I opened the show. But it's still not proven. So this poses a challenge in the sense of significance, because it poses a challenge because our lack of and different degrees to access it. Well, we all have different degrees of access to it, and it's still not proven, but it poses a challenge because of our lack of knowledge and certainty of consciousness and how it's connected to our lack of certainty of existence, which is connected to our lack of certainty of being significant. Here's what I mean by that. Without consciousness, there could be no significance. So if significance is the holy grail of all human desires and goals, think about it. In the last 10 minutes of our life, what is it that we want most? We want to make sure that our time counted, right? When you look back, if you do have the opportunity to look back and have this moment of clarity and say, I'm going to die in 10 minutes, what will you think about? This is the reason why we do 10-minute rise ups now. You're going to look back and you're going to evaluate, did I make my time count? Did I use this precious time to the best? Did I make an impact? What am I leaving behind? What is the footprint that I'm leaving behind? Now, without consciousness, or with limited amounts of consciousness, you will not be able to make that evaluation. So the reason why I did this rise up today is this. I know what you want, right? You all want to be happier, healthier, and wealthier, but I think your greatest desire is to matter and to make your time count on this planet. So that's the concept of being significant. Everybody wants to be significant. They want to be recognized and they want to be significant. So do you practice a higher sense of consciousness? Are you in a position right now where you're eradicating any distractions? Are you minimizing people and things that have a tendency of taking you off track? Because when you're on track and you're focused on the things that matter most, what happens is you become more aware and conscious, and you start to see all of the signs and signals that are being sent to you and guiding you, right? Very, very important, because without consciousness, there is no significance. So that's my offering to you today. I would say evaluate that in your life. And if you're noticing some sort of a correlation of a tendency to not be conscious, to move through life subconsciously, unconsciously, and which is most people. The first thing that you can do, I always say, on a healthy body rests a healthy mind. So always take care of your temple, right? Because everything gets better there. But the first thing you can do is take an inventory of the things that don't matter and the things that are distracting. And anybody that's not on your bus, go to my Facebook page today if you're looking at the live right now. I did a post about that. If anybody is not on your bus or anything is not on your bus, and that's the bus that's going towards your goals and your dreams, get rid of them, because what they're doing is they're snuffing out, they're burglarizing your ability to be conscious and significant at the same time. So I love and appreciate you. Have an amazing day, and we will see you next time, Mondays and Fridays at 8:30 a.m. live.